For most people, royal jewelry is simply a collection of beautiful diamonds, pearls, sapphires, and precious stones displayed during state banquets, coronations, diplomatic receptions, and historic national celebrations. According to many royal commentators, however, those jewels represent something far more significant. They represent memory. They represent continuity. They represent the physical connection between generations of royal women who carried the institution through wars, political upheavals, family crises, constitutional challenges, and periods of extraordinary national change. That is why discussions involving royal jewelry often generate emotions that seem disproportionate to the objects themselves. Because the debate is rarely about gemstones. The debate is about legacy. And according to several palace observers, few members of the royal family understand the meaning of legacy better than the man at the center of the story. The Duke of Kent. For decades, the Duke of Kent has occupied a unique position within the British royal family. Unlike younger generations whose public lives have unfolded in front of social media, 24-hour news coverage, and constant public scrutiny, the Duke belongs to an era when royal service was defined by restraint, discretion, and unwavering commitment to duty. Several royal historians have pointed out that his life effectively spans multiple chapters of modern royal history. He witnessed the reign of King George VI. He served throughout the extraordinary 70-year reign of Queen Elizabeth II. He watched the monarchy adapt to social transformations, technological revolutions, and changing public expectations that few could have imagined during the early years of his life. According to commentators, this experience gives his perspective unusual weight among royal observers. Because while public debate often focuses on current headlines, the Duke of Kent represents something much rarer: institutional memory. He remembers events that younger royals know only through records and stories. He remembers people whose influence helped shape the monarchy long before current generations entered public life. And perhaps most importantly, he remembers how royal history is preserved from one generation to the next. Several analysts have suggested that this explains why discussions involving the Duke frequently attract attention far beyond his official role. People understand that he has spent decades observing the institution from the inside. They understand that he has witnessed the successes, failures, triumphs, and challenges that have defined modern royal history. And according to many commentators, individuals who possess that level of experience often develop a profound appreciation for continuity. Not continuity for its own sake. Continuity as a method of preserving history. Continuity as a method of protecting traditions. Continuity as a method of ensuring that future generations understand the sacrifices and responsibilities that came before them. Several palace observers have argued that this perspective becomes particularly important when discussing royal heirlooms and historic collections. Unlike ordinary possessions, royal jewels frequently carry stories stretching back generations. A tiara is not simply a tiara. A necklace is not simply a necklace. A brooch is not simply a brooch. Each piece often represents decades, and sometimes centuries of royal history. The women who wore it, the events where it appeared, the moments of celebration, and national significance associated with it. According to royal historians, this symbolic value often exceeds the monetary value of the jewelry itself. Several commentators have noted that this reality helps explain why conversations about royal heritage frequently focus on stewardship rather than ownership. Who can best preserve the story attached to a historic piece? Who can ensure that future generations understand its significance? Who can continue the traditions associated with it? These questions often become just as important as legal inheritance arrangements. According to many analysts, this broader conversation has become increasingly visible in recent years because public attention is gradually shifting toward the future of the monarchy. People are beginning to look beyond the current reign. People are beginning to consider the next generation. People are beginning to imagine how the institution may evolve over the coming decades. And whenever those discussions occur, one name appears repeatedly: Catherine, Princess of Wales. Several palace watchers have observed that Catherine's public image has become closely associated with continuity, stability, and respect for royal tradition. Over time, she has developed a reputation for understanding the symbolism attached to royal history and for presenting that history in ways that resonate with contemporary audiences. According to commentators, this reputation did not emerge overnight. It developed gradually through years of public service, careful preparation, and a visible commitment to the responsibilities associated with her future role. As a result, many observers now view Catherine as one of the most important figures in the monarchy's long-term future, not because of dramatic headlines, not because of controversy, but because she increasingly represents continuity between past and future. Several analysts have suggested that this perception may ultimately explain why discussions regarding royal heritage so frequently lead back to Catherine. When people think about the future queen, they are not simply thinking about titles or ceremonial responsibilities. They are thinking about preservation. They are thinking about stewardship. They are thinking about whether the stories, traditions, and symbols that helped define previous generations will continue carrying meaning for generations yet to come. And according to many royal commentators, that question becomes even more fascinating when examining the remarkable history attached to some of the monarchy's most treasured heirlooms. Because once the conversation moves beyond individual personalities and begins focusing on the deeper meaning of royal legacy itself, an even larger debate begins to emerge. Who should become the guardian of that legacy as the monarchy enters its next chapter? And why do so many royal observers increasingly believe that Catherine may play a central role in answering that question? According to several royal commentators, one of the biggest misconceptions people make when discussing royal jewels is assuming that their importance comes primarily from their financial value. Certainly, many of these pieces are worth extraordinary sums of money. Some contain rare diamonds. Others feature historic emeralds, sapphires, rubies, and pearls collected over generations. Yet according to royal historians, the true significance of these items often has very little to do with their market price. Instead, their value comes from the stories attached to them. Because throughout royal history, jewels have functioned almost like visual records of the monarchy itself. They have appeared at coronations. They have appeared at weddings. They have appeared during moments of national celebration and moments of profound national mourning. Several palace observers have pointed out that when members of the royal family wear certain pieces, they are not simply selecting accessories. They are often invoking history. A tiara worn by one generation may later appear on another generation decades later. A brooch associated with one queen may eventually be seen on a future queen. A necklace connected to a particular historical moment may reappear years later, immediately reminding observers of the events, personalities, and traditions associated with that period. According to commentators, this continuity explains why royal jewelry attracts such intense public fascination. People are not simply looking at gemstones. They are looking at history made visible. Several royal analysts have argued that this symbolic dimension becomes increasingly important during periods of transition. Whenever the monarchy moves from one generation to the next, questions naturally emerge regarding preservation. Who will carry certain traditions forward? Who will maintain connections to previous eras? Who will ensure that important symbols continue retaining their meaning? According to many observers, these questions often become especially relevant when discussing women who occupy major roles within the royal family. Historically, queens, princesses, and future queens have frequently served as custodians of royal symbolism. Through public appearances, state occasions, and ceremonial events, they help transform historical objects from museum pieces into living elements of national tradition. Several palace commentators have suggested that this role requires more than simply wearing historic jewelry. It requires understanding what those pieces represent. It requires understanding the stories attached to them. And it requires presenting those stories in ways that remain meaningful to contemporary audiences. According to royal historians, this challenge has become increasingly significant in the modern era. Previous generations often inherited traditions without facing widespread public scrutiny regarding how those traditions were interpreted. Today's royals operate very differently. Every appearance is photographed. Every choice is analyzed. Every symbolic gesture becomes the subject of discussion across newspapers, television programs, websites, and social media platforms throughout the world. As a result, many commentators believe that symbolism now carries greater visibility than ever before. Several observers have argued that this reality helps explain why Catherine, Princess of Wales, attracts so much attention whenever discussions involve royal heritage. Over the years, she has frequently appeared at important state occasions wearing pieces connected to previous generations of royal women. These appearances often generate extensive media coverage because they create visible links between past and present. According to analysts, audiences respond positively to these connections because they provide reassurance that important traditions continue surviving despite changing times. Several palace watchers have suggested that Catherine possesses a particular ability to balance historical symbolism with contemporary presentation. Rather than treating royal heritage as something distant or inaccessible, she often presents it in ways that feel relevant to modern audiences while still respecting its historical significance. According to commentators, this balancing act may help explain why discussions surrounding continuity so often return to her name. Many observers increasingly view Catherine as someone capable of preserving tradition without appearing trapped by it. She respects history, she understands symbolism, yet she also appears aware that institutions must remain connected to the present if they hope to remain meaningful in the future. Several analysts have argued that this perception has become one of the defining characteristics of Catherine's public image. People trust her with symbols because they trust her judgment. People trust her with traditions because they believe she understands their importance. People trust her with heritage because they believe she appreciates the responsibility associated with preserving it. According to many royal commentators, this trust did not emerge suddenly. It developed through years of consistent public service, careful preparation, and visible respect for the institution she may one day help lead as queen. As a result, whenever conversations arise regarding royal legacy, Catherine increasingly occupies a central place within those discussions. Several palace observers have suggested that this trend reveals something important about the future of the monarchy. The debate is no longer focused solely on who holds authority today. The debate increasingly focuses on who can preserve meaning tomorrow. Because institutions survive not merely through laws and constitutional structures. They survive through stories. They survive through symbols. They survive through individuals capable of carrying those stories and symbols from one generation into the next. And according to many commentators, that larger question may explain why public discussion surrounding Catherine continues growing whenever the conversation turns toward royal heritage, legacy, and the future of the crown. Because once the focus shifts from jewelry itself to the people trusted to preserve the history attached to it, an even more fascinating discussion begins to emerge. Why do so many royal observers increasingly view Catherine not merely as a future queen, but as a future guardian of some of the monarchy's most important traditions and historical legacies? According to several royal commentators, the reason Catherine, Princess of Wales, appears so frequently in discussions involving royal legacy is not because of a single event, a single appearance, or a single moment of public approval. Instead, many observers believe her reputation has been built through a gradual process that has unfolded over more than a decade of public service. This distinction is important because throughout royal history, popularity and legacy have not always been the same thing. Popularity can rise quickly. Popularity can fade quickly. Legacy is different. Legacy is built slowly through consistency, reliability, and the ability to maintain public confidence across changing circumstances. Several palace analysts have suggested that Catherine's growing importance within the monarchy stems largely from this principle. She has never been associated with dramatic attempts to redefine her role overnight. She has never appeared eager to dominate public attention. She has never relied upon controversy to maintain relevance. Instead, according to many commentators, she has focused on something much more difficult: trust. And over time, that trust has accumulated steadily. Several royal observers have pointed out that Catherine entered the royal family during a period when public expectations were extraordinarily high. Comparisons were inevitable. Media attention was relentless. Every appearance generated analysis. Every decision generated commentary. Every aspect of her public role was examined in extraordinary detail. According to analysts, many people underestimated how difficult those circumstances would be. Yet rather than attempting to satisfy every expectation immediately, Catherine appeared willing to develop gradually. She learned royal protocol. She expanded her charitable interests. She increased her public responsibilities. And she built relationships with audiences over many years, rather than attempting to accelerate the process. Several commentators have argued that this patient approach ultimately became one of her greatest strengths. Because institutions built over centuries tend to value stability. They tend to value continuity. They tend to value individuals capable of balancing personal popularity with institutional responsibility. According to palace watchers, Catherine increasingly came to embody those qualities. As a result, many observers began associating her not merely with the present monarchy, but with its future direction. Several royal historians have suggested that this perception became particularly visible whenever Catherine appeared wearing historic pieces associated with previous generations of royal women. Public interest in these appearances often extended far beyond fashion. People discussed symbolism. People discussed continuity. People discussed historical connections. Because according to commentators, audiences frequently view these moments as visual reminders that royal history continues, moving from one generation to the next. Several analysts have pointed out that Catherine possesses a unique ability to present these symbols in ways that feel respectful without appearing outdated. This balancing act is more complicated than it appears. Modern audiences expect relevance. Traditional institutions depend upon continuity. Successfully satisfying both expectations simultaneously requires considerable skill. According to many observers, Catherine has demonstrated that skill repeatedly. She appears comfortable embracing royal traditions while remaining connected to contemporary audiences. She appears comfortable honoring history while maintaining a distinctly modern public identity. And according to commentators, this combination may explain why discussions surrounding heritage so frequently return to her name. Several palace observers have argued that the conversation is no longer simply about Catherine as an individual. The conversation increasingly focuses on what she represents. She represents continuity between generations. She represents stability during periods of transition. She represents the idea that historic institutions can evolve without abandoning their core identity. According to analysts, these symbolic associations have become increasingly important as public attention gradually shifts toward the monarchy's future. People understand the present. They increasingly want to understand what comes next. And whenever they attempt to imagine that future, Catherine often occupies a central place within the discussion. Several commentators have suggested that this phenomenon extends beyond Britain. Across the Commonwealth and throughout many countries that closely follow royal affairs, Catherine has become one of the most recognizable and trusted figures associated with the monarchy's next chapter. This international dimension is significant because modern monarchies operate within a global media environment. Perception matters, trust matters, symbolism matters, and according to many observers, Catherine has become remarkably effective at communicating all three. Several palace analysts have argued that this growing trust may ultimately prove more valuable than any specific title, jewel, or ceremonial role. Because while objects can preserve history, people preserve meaning. A tiara can survive for centuries. A necklace can survive for centuries. A collection of historic jewels can survive for centuries. Yet according to commentators, their significance depends upon the individuals entrusted with carrying their stories forward. Without that connection, even the most magnificent heirlooms eventually become museum pieces. With that connection, they remain living symbols of continuity. And according to many royal observers, this reality may explain why Catherine increasingly appears at the center of conversations involving legacy, heritage, and the future of royal tradition. Because once the discussion moves beyond gemstones and precious metals, it inevitably arrives at a much larger question. Who is best positioned to ensure that the monarchy's most important stories, symbols, and traditions continue resonating with future generations? And according to many commentators, that question leads directly into an even broader debate about what the future queen's role may ultimately become as the monarchy enters a completely new era. According to several royal commentators, discussions regarding Catherine's relationship with royal heritage eventually lead to a much larger conversation that extends far beyond jewelry, ceremonial appearances, or even individual traditions. That conversation concerns the future role of a queen in the modern monarchy. Because while royal history often focuses heavily on kings, many historians have pointed out that queens frequently play an equally important role in shaping how institutions are perceived by the public. They become symbols. They become representatives of continuity. They become living connections between generations. And according to many analysts, Catherine increasingly appears to be moving toward exactly that position. Several palace observers have suggested that one reason public interest surrounding Catherine continues expanding is because she occupies a uniquely important moment within royal history. She stands between two eras. On one side stands the extraordinary legacy of the late Queen Elizabeth II, whose reign lasted longer than that of any other British monarch, and whose image became synonymous with stability, duty, and continuity. On the other side stands a future monarchy that will eventually emerge under the leadership of Prince William and Catherine. According to commentators, few individuals have ever occupied such a significant transitional position. This reality helps explain why so many observers pay close attention to Catherine's public role. People are not merely evaluating the Princess of Wales. They are evaluating a future queen. Every public appearance, every major engagement, every ceremonial occasion, each becomes part of a larger discussion regarding the type of queen she may eventually become. Several royal analysts have argued that Catherine's growing influence stems partly from her ability to embody qualities that audiences increasingly associate with successful royal leadership. Patience, consistency, professionalism, reliability. These qualities may not always generate dramatic headlines, yet according to many observers, they often prove far more important over the long term. Institutions survive through stability. Institutions survive through trust. Institutions survive when people believe their leaders understand the responsibilities associated with their positions. Several commentators have suggested that Catherine has spent years building precisely that reputation. Not through grand declarations, not through controversy, not through attempts to dominate public attention. Instead, she has developed influence gradually through preparation, discipline, and a visible commitment to public service. According to palace watchers, this approach has strengthened the perception that Catherine understands the symbolic responsibilities attached to her future role. Because a queen's influence often extends beyond official duties. A queen helps shape public perceptions of the institution itself. A queen helps define how traditions are presented to new generations. A queen helps preserve historical connections while ensuring those connections remain meaningful within contemporary society. Several royal historians have pointed out that this balancing act has always been one of the monarchy's greatest challenges. Too much focus on the past can make an institution appear disconnected from the present. Too much focus on modernization can weaken the historical continuity that gives the institution its unique identity. According to many analysts, successful royal leadership requires balancing both priorities simultaneously. And many commentators believe Catherine has demonstrated an unusual ability to achieve that balance. Several palace observers have suggested that this perception explains why Catherine is so frequently associated with discussions regarding royal legacy. When people imagine the monarchy 10, 20, or even 30 years into the future, they often imagine Catherine occupying a central role within that vision. Not merely because she will hold an important title, but because she has become associated with continuity itself. According to commentators, continuity is one of the most valuable assets any monarchy possesses. Political leaders change, governments change, public debates change, social priorities change. Yet throughout those changes, institutions depend upon figures capable of providing reassurance that certain traditions and values will endure. Several analysts have argued that Catherine increasingly fulfills that symbolic role for many members of the public. She represents a bridge between generations. She represents a bridge between history and the future. She represents a bridge between tradition and adaptation. According to royal watchers, these associations may ultimately become more important than any individual's ceremonial responsibility. Because while official roles can evolve over time, symbolic roles often shape public memory for generations. Several commentators have pointed out that some of the most respected figures in royal history are remembered not simply because of their formal authority, but because of what they came to represent. Duty, service, continuity, stability. According to many observers, Catherine is gradually becoming associated with those same themes. This is why discussions surrounding royal heirlooms, historical collections, and institutional heritage frequently lead back to her name. The debate is rarely about ownership. The debate is rarely about material value. The debate increasingly concerns stewardship. Who can preserve the meaning behind the symbols? Who can maintain the connection between past and future? Who can ensure that centuries of royal history continue resonating with generations yet to come? According to several palace analysts, those questions may ultimately define Catherine's future role far more than any single title, ceremony, or public appearance ever could. And as those discussions continue expanding, an even larger question begins to emerge. If Catherine is increasingly viewed as a guardian of continuity, tradition, and royal heritage, what does that reveal about the future direction of the monarchy itself? And why do so many observers believe her influence may become one of the defining forces shaping the institution's next chapter? According to several royal commentators, the most interesting aspect of debates surrounding royal heirlooms, historic jewelry, and institutional legacy is that they ultimately reveal something much larger than questions about individual objects. They reveal how people think about the future of the monarchy itself. Because whenever discussions emerge regarding royal heritage, the conversation almost always moves beyond diamonds, gemstones, and ceremonial treasures and begins focusing on something far more important: continuity. Several palace analysts have suggested that continuity remains one of the monarchy's greatest strengths. Governments change, political priorities change, public attitudes evolve, entire generations come and go. Yet the monarchy derives much of its identity from the ability to connect past, present, and future through symbols, traditions, and shared historical memory. According to commentators, this is why discussions regarding royal legacy continue attracting such extraordinary public interest. People understand that institutions are not preserved solely through constitutional structures. They are preserved through stories. They are preserved through values. They are preserved through individuals capable of carrying those stories and values forward into new eras. Several royal observers have argued that this reality helps explain why Catherine, Princess of Wales, increasingly occupies such an important position within public discussions regarding the monarchy's future. Over time, she has become associated with many of the qualities that commentators frequently identify as essential for long-term institutional stability: patience, reliability, consistency, respect for tradition, commitment to service. According to many analysts, these associations did not emerge through a single event or a single public appearance. Instead, they developed gradually through years of public responsibility and careful preparation. Several palace commentators have suggested that this gradual development may actually strengthen Catherine's long-term influence. Public trust rarely emerges overnight. It is usually built through repetition. It is built through predictability. It is built through years of demonstrating the same values under different circumstances. According to observers, Catherine has spent much of her royal career doing exactly that. As a result, many people increasingly view her not simply as the Princess of Wales, but as one of the central figures likely to shape the monarchy's future identity. Several analysts have pointed out that this perception becomes particularly important when discussions involve heritage and symbolism, because symbols only remain powerful when people continue believing in them. Traditions only remain meaningful when new generations understand their significance. Historical connections only survive when someone is willing to preserve and communicate their importance. According to commentators, many royal watchers believe Catherine possesses an unusual ability to fulfill that role. She appears comfortable embracing tradition without appearing disconnected from modern society. She appears capable of honoring history while remaining relevant to contemporary audiences. And according to several palace observers, that balance may become increasingly valuable as the monarchy navigates future challenges. Several royal historians have suggested that every generation eventually asks the same question: how can an institution rooted in centuries of history remain meaningful in a rapidly changing world? The answer is rarely found in dramatic reforms alone. The answer is rarely found in symbolism alone. Instead, successful institutions often depend upon individuals capable of connecting historical legacy with contemporary relevance. According to many commentators, this is where Catherine's future role becomes especially significant. Not because she will possess extraordinary constitutional authority, not because she will single-handedly determine the monarchy's future, but because she may help shape how millions of people understand and relate to the institution itself. Several palace analysts have argued that this influence could ultimately prove more important than many observers realize. Public trust is difficult to earn. Institutional credibility is difficult to maintain, and symbolic leadership often plays a crucial role in preserving both. According to commentators, Catherine increasingly appears positioned to contribute to that effort for decades to come. This possibility explains why conversations regarding royal heritage so often return to larger themes: legacy, stewardship, continuity, responsibility. The debate is rarely about who possesses a particular item. The debate increasingly concerns who represents the values associated with those items. Who can preserve the stories? Who can preserve the meaning? Who can preserve the connection between generations? According to many observers, these questions will continue shaping discussions regarding the future monarchy long after individual headlines disappear. Because while specific controversies come and go, the broader challenge remains unchanged. Every generation must decide how to preserve what matters while adapting to what changes. Several royal commentators believe that challenge may ultimately define the next chapter of the monarchy more than any single event, announcement, or ceremonial occasion. And according to many analysts, Catherine is increasingly viewed as one of the individuals most likely to play a central role in that process. So what do you think? Do you believe Catherine, Princess of Wales, has become the strongest symbol of continuity within the next generation of the royal family? Or do you think public expectations surrounding her future role have grown too large? Do you believe royal traditions remain important in the modern world? Or do you think institutions should focus more heavily on adaptation and change? And perhaps most importantly, which member of the younger generation of royals do you believe will have the greatest influence on the monarchy's future identity in the decades ahead? Share your thoughts in the comments below, because this discussion continues generating fascinating debate among royal watchers across Britain, the United States, Canada, Australia, and throughout the wider Commonwealth. If you enjoyed today's discussion, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you never miss our latest royal analysis, palace developments, royal family updates, and in-depth discussions involving Catherine, Prince William, King Charles III, Queen Camilla, and the future direction of the British monarchy. Because according to many royal observers, the most enduring legacies are rarely defined by crowns, jewels, or ceremonies alone. They are defined by the people entrusted with preserving the stories behind those symbols and ensuring that those stories continue inspiring future generations long after the headlines of today have been forgotten.